Hello students, I welcome you all to the second session of soft skills, and today we are all going to do a very important topic, phrasal verbs. So it is a verb in a phrase, phrasal verbs, a very important chapter in your written verbal English and something that is very often tested in all MNC written exams. So today we'll be learning about the importance of phrasal verbs, what are actually phrasal verbs, listing out different types of phrasal verbs and putting some into use. And of course, you'll be having a reading challenge towards the end of the session. Yes, so I once again welcome you all for this session of phrasal verbs. So phrasal verbs is a very important part of American English. So you must have heard of something called American English and British English and all that. So we'll be working on the differences between American English and British English and about it in the later part of our lecture. First, I'll be talking about phrasal verbs. So every phrasal verb also has a synonym. For example, the word complete can also be expressed as fill in. So fill in is a phrasal verb. So if you observe fill in, you understand there is a verb fill and a preposition in. Similarly, if you look at the word quit, you find that an equivalent phrasal verb is give up. So you have a verb plus a preposition. So with verbs and different types of prepositions, you get different meanings and different set of phrasal verbs. For example, if you can add up and it becomes give up, that is sacrifice. Given is another phrasal verb. Take up means you accept a job, you accept an opportunity. Go on means continue. Come out. Yes. Come in. No, it becomes a phrasal verb. Get in, get up, get down, throw in, throw and in. Throw in, it has a different meaning. Throw up has a different meaning. So in today's class, we are going to look at a few phrasal verbs, their relevance, their meaning, because as Indians, we tend to use these words like have completed, I must complete the form. We generally don't use I must fill in the form. We just might say I quit the job. It is rarely that we say that I have given up the job. Yes. So, but in American English, they use a lot of phrasal verbs in their daily conversations. And since when you work in an MNC, you will be dealing with your clients. Maybe they are US based and their English would be, this American English where phrasal verbs occupy a very important place. That is why you will find that every verbal exam will have at least 3 or 4 phrasal verb questions. Sometimes a single phrasal verb might have more than one meaning. For example, let's observe the phrasal verb turn down. Turn down means reduce. Please turn down the volume. So it means reduce the volume of the TV. Yes. The other meaning turn down means reject. Right? Please don't turn down my proposal. Or my proposal has been turned down. It has been rejected. Turn up also has 2 meanings. One is increasing the volume. Volume, could you please turn up the stereo volume? Yes. Another meaning of turn up is to appear. He turned up at the meeting. Yes. He turned up late, rather late at the meeting. Okay. So turn up is to come, to appear. Before we move on, I would just like to tell you a little information about what this American English is, because this kind of English is what is expected from you when you sit for the interviews or when you take your written exams. No, it is something that is of latest. That is something that is widely practiced in all companies, all MNCs and all written tests. Okay. As I've already told you that we follow American English today in a corporate world, and American English and British English have certain differences, especially in vocabulary, pronunciation and spelling. So first, I would like to bring to your notice certain words that are, different words are used in British English and American English. As Indians, we have been tuned to follow British English, and you will understand why certain words are used now, which is in vogue, which is in fashion now, and why we are supposed to use those words, because they are basically American English words which are being used today. So in British English it is car park, whereas in American English it is parking lot. So in British English we say car park, but it is called parking lot in American English. And underground is known as subway. Chemists, here it is, in American English it is drugstore, in British English it's phone box, and in American English it is phone booth. We generally say queue, we stand in a queue, but they say it as a line. So we call lift, they call it elevator. A post box is referred to as mailbox there. We generally plan our timetables there. They plan their schedules. So we call it, we go for a holiday, they go for a vacation. Then we generally eat biscuits with tea. So they have cookies. And we generally use the term CV, and resume is more profoundly used there. So these are some of the main differences in vocabulary. So they have the same meaning. You would find that, let me leave my car at the parking lot. So it means car park, right? So I will walk home to the subway. Yes, when we say, we usually use underground. So you're supposed to acquaint yourself with these kind of vocabulary words, and you are supposed to use it in your when you speak English. So if you observe this word schedule, you must remember that previously we pronounced it as schedule. Yes, so schedule is British pronunciation and schedule is American pronunciation. Whenever you Google for a particular word, you get the meaning as well as the pronunciation. And sometimes it is also like in British English it's pronounced this way, and in American English it is pronounced this way. Okay, so there are slight differences, and one of the best examples is schedule, the pronunciation of the word schedule. Okay, so it would be very interesting and very important also for you to note down, to find out the different vocabulary words that I used, yes, in American English, and to put it in your daily usage. Okay, now let's also now deal with spelling. Yes, the differences in British English spelling and American English spelling. It is interesting to note that our MS word follows the American English spelling, and let's see some of the differences. Yes, now let's observe some differences in the spellings of words in British English and American English. So if you observe the color grey, in British English it's G-R-E-Y, and American English it is G-R-A-Y. See order, O-U, and it's just O. Similarly in color, C-O-L-O-U-R in British English and C-O-L-O-R. Apologize. One is with S-E and another one is with Z-E. Similarly, you have words like civilize, civilization. So one is with S and one is with Z. Similarly, aeroplane. Here in American English, it's airplane. The check, yes, or the bill. We generally say, bearer, get me the check. Yes. So we mean this check, and this is to check something, to put something in check, to put something under control, to observe something. but this also means bill in American English. This is the spelling that is used. Then theater. Here it is RE and here it is ER. Similarly, you have center and various other words. Yes. So program, we are used to this spelling. But in American English, it is PROGRAM. These are some sample words. Still, there are lots of more examples which you can Google and find out in the internet. So now, till now, we've looked at some vocabulary words that are now used, which is a part of American English that has come into the Indian vocabulary also. And we are expected to use those words. And now we also looked at the spellings. I told you one or two pronunciation differences like schedule and schedule. And there are a few you'll be coming across during your work experience in your day-to-day life slowly as you go about using English language. Okay, let's move on to the phrasal verbs. I told you that phrasal verbs are very important part of American English, and that is why it is being asked in your verbal written exams. Even in AMCAT, you will find few questions dedicated to phrasal verbs, and even in your day-to-day conversation, you will be expected to use phrasal verbs in your conversation. We are going to look into a conversation where you can find a synonym for each phrasal verb and how we can replace it with a phrasal verb so that you will understand the meaning and the usage of a phrasal verb in your daily conversations. Yes, students, now I would like you to follow a conversation and let's observe a few words and how we can replace this with our phrasal verbs. Yes, dialogue 1. Could you increase the volume of the television, please? So, could you increase the volume of the television? So, instead of increase the volume, you could use, could you turn up the volume of the television, please? Okay, is it loud enough? No, that's too loud. Please decrease the volume. So, turn down. Decrease the volume. So, you can say, no, that's too loud. Please turn down the volume. What's the matter with you? Why are you so stressed? So, the word stressed could be replaced. Why are you so wound up? Why are you so wound up? Right? So, it's a phrasal verb for the word stressed. I'm sorry, I am tired. I didn't go to bed last night. I didn't go to bed last night. I stayed up last night. Why did you stay up? See the phrasal verb. Why did you stay up? I had to do my unfinished work. I had to catch up on my work. Catch up means to complete some incompleted work. I thought you quit your job. So quit. I thought you have given up. You have given up your job. Yes, I have. This is just a temporary job I have accepted. So yes, I have. This is just a temporary job I have taken up. So let's just read the conversation once more, only using the phrasal verbs. Could you turn up the volume of the television, please? Okay, is it loud enough? No, that's too loud. Please turn down the volume. Will you make a decision? Do you want it loud or quiet? What's the matter with you? Why are you so wound up? I'm sorry, I'm tired. I stayed up last night. Why did you stay up? I had to catch up on my work. I thought you have given up your work. Yes, I have. This is just a temporary job I have taken up. So this is how a conversation in American English would be using all the phrasal verbs. Yes, let's continue the conversation. Observe these sentences. What can we do to reduce your stress? To reduce your stress. What can we do to calm you down? To calm you. I think I need some fresh air. Do you feel like going for a short walk? Feel like going for a short walk? Are you up for a short walk? So, are you up for a short walk? Sure. And we can buy something for dinner on my way back. Sure, we can pick up something for dinner on my way back. Just observe these sentences. What can we do to reduce your stress? To reduce your stress can be replaced by what can we do to calm you, or to calm your stress? I think I need some fresh air. Do you feel like going for a short walk? Are you up for a short walk? Sure, and we can buy something for dinner on our way back. Sure, we can pick up something for dinner. So pick up means to buy something for dinner on my way back. Okay, so let's see some of the phrasal verbs that we have covered in this conversation. So these are some of the phrasal verbs that we covered in this dialogue number 1, and you will get an exercise number 1, and there are a list of phrasal verbs, and I would request you to go through the sentences, understand the meaning, and apply the correct phrasal verbs wherever it is concerned. Right? Now we will proceed to the second dialogue and learn some of phrasal verbs and their usage in everyday conversations. Students, now let's observe the second dialogue. So here the sentences are already in the general English, the Indian English that we use. We are going to underline the words that could be replaced by phrasal verbs and be more like the American English. Okay. The first, let's see, it's a dialogue. I know why Joe hasn't arrived. I know why Joe hasn't turned up. I hope his car hasn't stopped working. I hope his car hasn't broke down. Joe is not coming. He refused my invitation. Joe is not coming. He turned down my invitation. Really, that's not like Joe. He said his new job was occupying all his time. He said his new job was taking up all his time. You seem a bit disappointed. You seem a bit let down. Yes, I am. I think he was fabricating an excuse. He was making up an excuse. I doubt that. I'm sure he will compensate for it. I'm sure he will make up for it. I hope so. Would you like a cup of coffee? No thanks. I'm reducing the cups of coffee I drink. I am cutting down. Now let's see the conversation using the phrasal verbs. And it will very much sound like the American English. I don't know why Joe hasn't turned up. I hope his car hasn't broke down. Joe is not coming. He turned down my invitation. Really? That's not like Joe. He said his new job was taking up all his time. You seem a bit let down. Yes, I am. I think he was making up an excuse. I doubt that. I'm sure he will make up for it. I hope so. Would you like a cup of coffee? No thanks. I'm cutting down cups of coffee I drink. Right? So, if at all, when you work in your dream company and you are assigned to talk to a client who is in US or a very important client, you should be able to understand his language and you should be able to converse in a language that he can also understand. So here the main difference is the usage of phrasal verbs. So when he tells you turn down, you should understand the meaning and you should also be able to speak in a language that he can comprehend. So that is why it is very, very important that we acquaint ourselves with phrasal verbs, and that is one of the important reasons that phrasal verbs questions form an important section in your verbal written exam, English exam. If you go to an exercise, I have given you a second exercise and I have given you the clues. Please understand the sentences and use the verbs wherever necessary. Yes, some of the phrasal verbs that we learned through the second conversation is turned up. Turned up, remember in the previous conversation, turn up the volume. Here turned up means arrive. Broke down, turned down is reject. Turn up is different, turn down is different. Take up, let down, make up, cut down. You can find exhaustive list of phrasal verbs in EnglishClub.com, and the conversations, all that I have taken from AngloLink.com. It is a YouTube video where 5 sections, 5 videos on phrasal verbs. It is explained very slowly in a manner that you can comprehend. If you have time, you can go through a comprehensive list in EnglishClub.com. And please make sure that you complete these exercises. See how the phrasal verbs are used in everyday conversation. I have already explained to you the importance of phrasal verbs and the important place it occupies in your English written exam, in your conversation, and a very important place even in your workplace. I'm going to write a small passage and I would require you to go through the passage and underline the phrasal verbs. First, you must be able to pick up phrasal verbs, find out their meanings, and use it in your day-to-day English. Yes, now let's read the passage and let's see if you can find out the phrasal verbs in the passage. And if you can find the phrasal verbs, you can also recollect the equivalent words that we generally use in our English. Eventually, I ran out of patience and answered back. I said I was not going to put up with it anymore, and if she wanted to lay me off, she should go ahead. Eventually, I ran out of patience and answered back. I said I was not going to put up with it anymore, and if she wanted to lay me off, she should go ahead. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I stormed out, phoned Mark's secretary, who put me through to him. I told Mark I'd like to take up his offer. So in the end, everything has worked out perfectly. So I'm sure you could find out a few phrasal verbs. Let's see. Eventually, I ran out of patience and answered back. I said I was not going to put up with it anymore, and if she wanted to lay me off, she should go ahead. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I stormed out, phoned Mark's secretary, who put me through to him. I told Mark I'd like to take up his offer, so in the end, everything has worked out perfectly. So these are the phrasal verbs. I'm sure you could understand the meaning. And if you cannot, you can also look into a dictionary. I ran out of patience. I became very impatient and answered back. I just started shouting, giving back answers. I said I was not going to put up to bear with it anymore. And if she wanted to lay me off, if she wanted to remove me from my job, she should go ahead. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I stormed out. That is, go away from the room, like burst out of the room. Phoned Mark's secretary, who put me through to him, who connected me to him. I told Mark I would like to take up his offer, to accept his offer. So in the end, everything has worked out perfectly. So everything, ended out well. It was a happy ending. And let me repeat, you can find an exhaustive list in englishclub.com. You can go through these exercises and you can prepare yourself to face a question on phrasal verbs. So in this session, we saw the meaning of phrasal verb. A phrasal verb is a verb plus a preposition, to give a short definition. Phrasal verbs always have a synonym. Phrasal verbs are an integral part of American English conversation. Different phrasal verbs have different meanings. For example, turn up has a meaning, turn in has a meaning, turn down has a meaning. It's all different. And we have to really know those meanings, use it in our everyday conversation in order to remember them. I've taken you through 2 dialogues, 2 practice passages, 1 passage where you can pick out the phrasal verbs. We've also learned about some major differences between American English and British English. Some major differences are in the usage of vocabulary, the spellings, some pronunciation differences. Yes. So whenever you're required to write a write-up for a company, a blog or anything, you are required to write it in American English. And phrasal verbs form a very important part of American English, and you can expect a few questions on phrasal verbs in any verbal exam that you write. Students, as I have told you earlier, the beginning of the lecture, that you will be having a reading challenge. Yes, a reading challenge, right? You've heard it right. So this reading challenge is really a challenge thrown to you, so that I've given you a link. This is a very short story. You can use this link. The short story is the story of a happy prince. It is just not more than 9 pages. I want you to read the story, pick up the phrasal verbs in the story, see that you're able to understand the meaning, and try to use it in your own words. Try to make some sentences using those phrasal verbs. And the second task is you are required to find out at least 10 to 15 new words from the passage, from the short story, and also find out their meanings. There were several students who reached out to me and asked me to help them in improving their spoken English. Some of them have also approached me to recommend a few books so that they could read them. I've asked them, for a beginner, you could go for any short story online, like The Happy Prince that I have given you a link for. You can also, if you're interested in mystery, you must have read about Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes stories. They are very interesting. So it is all a mystery, a doctor solving the mystery. They are interesting for a beginner. You can also go through the books, the texts of, the novels of Harry Potter. You would have watched movies, but that is very different from the reading experience. You can download any simple book of Harry Potter, Rowling's Harry Potter. It's very easy and interesting to go through the books. You can also go for Chetan Bhagat novels, as they are all campus novels and they all revolve around engineering students your age, and it will also be very interesting and easy for you to complete the novel. If you are a little more interested, you can go for some motivational works. Girls especially would like the novel Little Women. It is available in PDF. Please remember to complete the task that I've given. Read the story, pick up the phrasal verbs and also a few vocabulary words. And once you've completed the task, I want you to give a thumbs up in the comment section so that I can verify that you've completed the task. Thank you so much for listening. Happy learning. And I wish you all the best. For the next lecture, we'll come up with another challenge. So now it's the reading challenge. Probably the next would be a movie challenge or a singing challenge. So wait up for more interesting videos. Thank you so much.